every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus. Heck, it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like from Mitchell, cheesy grits, big cheesy Lou, and those Louis Original Cajun hash browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and ocbrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance. And Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Finbom, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee.
Get Moss Max and less text during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and Dip Trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, 4 cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net. 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we'll return here at Big Mike's Live at Lunch. We're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners when it comes to retirement. No two situations are exactly alike. So let Coastal Capital Advisors work with you, as well as your business partners, your legal team, tax professionals, to make sure all of your goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. They'll build that lifetime relationship. That's exactly what they've done with me. So no matter what stage of life you are in, they'll tailor make a plan that will fit what your income level is, what your age is, so that you can be secure moving towards retirement. Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376. Online, it's coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. So with just a couple of days to go before we start college football practice for real, and that includes out at LSU. Obviously, we get our what I'm going to call our last look at the preseason odds, and when we go back, we like to kind of chart these things so we can go back and look at them later and see how we did. Somewhere along the line, we'll do what team is, when the rankings come out, we like to do what team is outside of the top 10 that will finish inside the top, or outside the top 20 that'll finish inside the top 10 at the end of the season, or what team that's in the top 10 that will finish completely out of it. So here's are your updated, up to the minute odds to win the national championship this year. This is what we'll go with to open August practice. Couple of days. Ohio State, your favorite at plus 500. Penn State at plus 600. There's a pretty good chance that Penn State, when the AP poll comes out, is going to be the number one team going in. So even though they're not the betting line favorite, there's a pretty good chance that they'll be the number one team. That's who Phil Steele's got. That's who a lot of the other preseason magazines have got. Penn State, though, is still behind Ohio State, who still does not know exactly who their quarterback's going to be right now. And that's the case for a couple other teams in the top 6 or 8 as well. After Penn State, it's Texas at plus 650. Texas has probably got the best overall talent roster top to bottom in the Southeastern Conference, though it's very, very close. If Arch Manning is as good as he is predicted to be, Texas will be right there. They've made the playoffs the last 2 years. They are plus 650 as your third choice. Alabama at plus 800. We figure that Ty Simpson is going to be your starting quarterback there, but there are some that do not believe that he will finish the season as a starting quarterback. Alabama at plus 800. Georgia and Gunnar Stockton at plus 900. Clemson right behind them at plus 1,000, same as Notre Dame. And then comes LSU in your co-8th choice to win the national championship at plus 1,200, which means that Las Vegas thinks that LSU is good enough to make the playoffs and should be there with maybe even a little bit of room to spare, because after LSU at plus 1,200, it drops off pretty dramatically. There's a drop all the way to Texas A&M at plus 2,500, Michigan at plus 4,000, and especially in the Southeastern Conference. Once you get past the first 4, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, there's a big, big drop. Almost, more than 4 times actually, to the next team after Texas A&M, which is Ole Miss at plus 5,000. Florida also at plus 5,000, and Oklahoma at 6,000. Now the SEC dominates when you go and you talk about the top 18. South Carolina, Auburn, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, Oklahoma, LSU, A&M, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, all in that top dozen and a half to win the national championship. Those are the numbers that we're going to go on. To win the conference, Texas plus 300, Alabama plus 350, Georgia at plus 450, and LSU at plus 600. So it mirrors what the national championship odds are pretty well. And it's a big, big drop off to Texas A&M at plus 1,200 as your 5th choice. So as if this needed to be reiterated to Brian Kelly, who was bullish at SEC Media Days about this team and how good they could be, who came back, basically reiterated all that again at the Rotary last week. The odds makers think that LSU should be in the playoff. The media that picks these things, a lot of times the media is wrong with these, but they think that LSU should be in the playoff. Brian Kelly thinks that LSU should be in the playoff. Certainly all the players think that LSU should be in the playoff, and that's why maybe this season, as much as any, look, we always have expectations when you get to this point, but man, there's not a single person, entity, whatever that we have seen that covers college football or watches college football that doesn't think that LSU is going to be right there. Garrett Nussmeier did a little session last week back in Lake Charles. He continues to be extremely positive about where this season is going. And so with all of that, you can understand why there is such anticipation for LSU to get to campus and why this first game is looked at as being just so monumentally important, because when you look down at the ACC and the odds to win there, Clemson is such an overwhelming favorite to win the ACC. At minus 125, the next closest team is Miami at plus 450. So Clemson could lose this game to LSU, and not only could they still get into the playoffs, they could still get into the playoffs and maybe even have a bye in the first round. They're going to be favored everywhere else on this schedule, and they're favored in this game, but they're going to be favored by an overwhelming margin in most of these games. We went through last year's schedule. No, they didn't beat a lot of teams with winning records in the regular season, but what if this season plays out exactly like that one did? If you just win all the games that you're supposed to, even if you were to lose an opening game to LSU. So Clemson, a big, big favorite in the ACC. Just to get us on the record here, forgot where the blue book is. The Big 12, the conference favorite is Kansas State, but this is a lot closer. Kansas State, Arizona State, Baylor, and Utah all within 200 of each other. Kansas State's a favorite, Arizona State second, then Baylor, then Utah. And in the Big Ten, it is very, very close between Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon. So those are your odds as we start practice. Everybody I said will be in camp by the end of the week. We're brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff done a great job for our family over the years. So if you've got back pain, if you've got neck pain, you've got soreness, you are being impeded from getting around quite as well as you'd like, or if you're not getting a good night's sleep, let them work with you. Might be a series of exercises and stretches that get you back to feeling right, might loosen some things up. It may require cryotherapy. It may require dry needle or electric nerve stimulation or ultrasound therapy. They'll find what is a solution for you, and they will make it work. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. We'll take a break. Troy Macker from Bet Rivers joins us when we return live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. One of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. It's hot. It is very hot. So if it breaks down, something is just not cooling properly, call 480-1000. 480-1000. Service today, every day means same-day service. You'll never sleep hot with you call Total Maintenance at 480-1000. Call today, get service today. We're a factory-authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem products at Total Maintenance. We're authorized dealer for Generac and Cummings generators. Now is the time. We're right on the cusp of storm season, so now's the time to get those generators installed. And we're covering both Metro Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas, but not compromised in either because we have completely different staffs and offices for both. Breaks down. Call our friends who support the show, 480-1000. 480-1000, Total Maintenance.
Live at lunch.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Siegen near Perkins. Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. Not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padiella Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and WorkboxLLC.com.
This is Charles Hannigan for Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's needs no matter your age or your financial situation. The bottom line is Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Value Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
By now you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crowntown Room at Doe's Eat Place. The Crowntown Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash-fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. Right now we're boiling crawfish 7 days a week. Monday through Friday, first batch comes out at 5 p.m. Weekends at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road near Starring since 1988.
This is Charles Hannigan for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
And return here at Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs. Schedule your fantasy football drafts now here and get happy hour drink prices and on appetizers here at Big Mike's during your entire draft. Multiple rooms set up here for you. Lots of room to spread out and get your league going and great prices to go along with it. Troy, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
All right. This is the NFL's putting the pads on this week, but it also means that the colleges are going to camp this week, including LSU. We were looking at some of the odds, to win the national championship, to make the playoffs, to win their leagues. Man, as we get going into this thing, it seems like this one is maybe as wide open a year as we've had. There's no Nick Saban in the game anymore. The Heisman Trophy favorite has started all of 2 games. So is this about as wide open a year as you can think of, and maybe that provides some value somewhere down the line?
Yeah, it definitely is. And, I think a lot of it has to do with, what the end result will be, and that's a 12-team playoff with adjusted from last year. I correct me if I'm wrong, but they're changing the format in terms of seeding.
Yes.
Is that for this year?
Yeah.
Right. So for what seems like the 3rd straight year, we're going to have a slightly different playoff format. So, the regularity and the familiarity is going out the window there. And just from a futures market, usually it's very, very top-heavy in the betting. The last couple of years, Ohio State and Georgia have been the lion's share of the money. Going back 3-4 years, obviously Alabama. This year, right now, we have 8 teams that are all kind of in and around, high six figures in terms of the handle on to win the national championship. And that's something we typically don't really see a lot of, and they're the teams you shouldn't be surprised at: Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Notre Dame, Alabama, and Florida. Those teams are all kind of, neck and neck in terms of the intake. Now, from ticket standpoint, it's pretty lopsided in Texas's, standpoint. And to that, what you mentioned, they're going to be starting their quarterback. They have all these designs of winning a national championship. He started 2 games. He's the Heisman front runner in Arch Manning. So this is very up in the air. The reigning national champions, no one's talking about them because the only thing they're talking about with Ohio State is, can you beat Michigan?
Yeah.
Penn State is there, but what do we know about Penn State? They can't win the big one. Georgia's, longtime quarterback is now at a different school in Miami. So it is very all over the map. I think it should make for a really fun season, even if, we may not have a lot of towards the end of the season where we have undefeated versus undefeated or one loss versus one loss. I think you're going to see potentially a lot more teams with a lot more than one loss.
Did I hear you say Florida had that kind of up at the top intake of preseason money? That surprises me a little bit, that there would be that kind of support behind the Gators with the that schedule that they've got to play.
I think it's a little blind optimism, just in terms of, what do you need to win a national championship? Well, it starts with the quarterback, and they have DJ Lagway, who people are very, very high on. And they're at the bottom end of the top tier in terms of handle. But, right now, we've taken more money on them than Clemson, who plays in a much easier, more advantageous conference. LSU, Ole Miss, Michigan, Texas A&M, Miami, Tennessee, Arizona State, they're just below Alabama, honestly. So a little surprising, but, the Gators definitely did have some spurts last year where they showed they could at least compete at the elite level, even though I don't think, they were elite then. But, DJ Lagway is a guy who could absolutely be in the Heisman running, middle of the pack. But that means Florida is going to have to, win a lot of those difficult games you talked about. And, my gosh, their schedule is incredibly hard.
Didn't we have last year, Max, you can chime in on this. Didn't we have there was a prop that you could bet Ohio State and Georgia against the field for the national championship before we even started practice? Troy, am I remembering that right, where we had a prop like that last year?
You are, yeah.
And we don't have anything like that this year, right? There's nothing close to that.
No, not at all. I'm looking just to triple check, and we potentially throw that up after 4 weeks if it's, if we get to a place where there's 2 teams that it's far and away different, in a different stratosphere. But as of now, yeah, it's all over the map. Like, who's the dominant team in the country? I don't know.
How many teams would you have to take, you think, Troy? 3, 4 to do a prop like that? Let's say you did Ohio State, Penn State, Texas versus the field. I don't know if that's enough. You might have to throw in Georgia or
another
Alabama.
SEC team.
Like it feels like if you did a bet like that, you would need at least 4 teams probably to do something like that. A selection of teams against the field.
Right. And, I would say, if you're having Ohio State and Penn State and throwing Oregon, they're all in the same conference. But we know for a fact, well, not for a fact, but we're pretty confident that the Big Ten and the SEC will get 2, 3, potentially even 4 teams in the playoffs. I think it's probably 3 teams. But, I think there's a possibility that, one of the teams that's in the SEC championship game isn't Texas, Georgia, or Alabama, just because of how deep the conference is. So I think in all likelihood we're going to be seeing a Texas, Georgia, or something like that. But would you be surprised if South Carolina makes a huge jump this year? I'm a big fan of Lenora Sellers. I think he is a star in the making. He had a great season last year. South Carolina was in nothing but close games where a couple things went wrong in a couple different games. They're probably one of the toughest outs. If they can make the jump, that's a team that At least if you can find a market on to make your conference championship game or even win it, I like them on a little bit of a flyer, just because, I think it starts and ends with the quarterback, and they have one of the best in the country.
I like Sellers an awful lot, too. I wouldn't have made him the preseason All-SEC quarterback over Garrett Nussmeier, but I do like him. It does set up for one of the more interesting games on the schedule. I'm asking this for a reason when they play Clemson. Troy, if I were looking at this and I had to bet one team to make the playoffs more than any other, I honestly think I might take Clemson. And that's because even if they lose to LSU, I can't find another game where they're definitely going to be an underdog. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be favored in every game going to that South Carolina game, which is the last game of the season. So it's kind of hard to pick. If they were playing that game in week 1, Clemson would be favored. But, we don't know what it's going to look like by the end of November. Honestly, if I had to take one team to make the playoffs, because they could lose to LSU and run the table and still easily get in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the back end of their schedule is a little bit tougher. Granted, we're talking about the ACC here, but, before South Carolina, obviously Furman doesn't matter. But Louisville is expected to be very good this year, obviously with Miller Moss coming in, the quarterback from USC. Florida State the week prior. Florida State can't be as bad as they've been the last 2 years. Now, I don't know if they're going to be, incredible or major jump, but that will be a tough game as well. They have SMU down the stretch. SMU was a surprise team last year. So, they do have a little bit of a tough schedule, but I think they're just far and away. The level of talent they have is much better than any other team in their conference. But one thing I know about the ACC is that is just a conference of trap games. The amount of times the team goes to Syracuse and loses like a big, like Miami or when Jameis was at Florida State, I believe they lost to Syracuse or like had to rally back from 35. North Carolina State is a team that can do that out of nowhere. Georgia Tech the same way. So even though they're not great teams, it's just trap games everywhere because, you're not afforded a lot of opportunity to lose and keep advancing because the strength of schedule isn't strong. But that being said, I thought Clemson was in a very bad place 2 years ago in terms of dropping out of that elite upper echelon. And Cade Klubnik, 2 years ago, he was thought to be a legit Heisman candidate, and he did not play well. Last year, I think, especially towards the end, he played great. He matured a ton. Dabo got the most out of the team. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think they're the strongest case to make the playoffs simply because it's them or Louisville, right? And I don't have a ton of faith in Louisville. And I just think Cade Klubnik is going to be that quarterback that we've been talking about for 3 years, like a Drew Aller type, that actually makes the big step to the next level. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's, hoisting the Heisman at the end of the year.
Yeah, they miss Miami. They do have to play the Fighting Belichicks in week 5 at North Carolina. So we'll see with that. On the week 1, and we're doing this today because everybody's starting practice, and then we're going to have to factor in injuries and all this stuff. So I wanted to kind of do a baseline today and see what it looks like right before we kick the season off. But the two big games in week number 1, the two biggest games, Ohio State, Texas at the Shoe, and Clemson and LSU at Clemson. Both of the home teams are holding as 3-point favorites right now, Ohio State and Clemson. Anything you want to jump on for that in week 1 or for either one of those games or anything else that you want to get right now before things, before we get into real serious practice?
The LSU Clemson over is a little tantalizing to me. It's 57, which is a significant amount of points. But I just feel like those games that like LSU, Clemson, Florida State that they play late at night on the Sunday of Labor Day, I think. Now, certainly this isn't that in that slot, but I think this game is going to be lots of points. Typically, I think, especially in the NFL, week 1 is either like a lot of unders or a lot of overs. And I especially college football, I think it's going to be a lot of overs. Just because there's, we're far more into the spread pistol, 4 wide, just a lot faster. The rule changes have made teams want to throw the ball more and get up and down. And I think these two teams are obviously, being led by elite gunslingers. So that's a game where I think I would, I don't love taking overs because I think it's easier to bet on which teams are going to stink than which teams are going to really explode. But this is one I would take on over 57. At least now in late July, I may have a much different thought once I actually watch some of, some videos on the teams from practice and things like that.
Here's the good news. we're 26 days away from a college football game that means something, okay? I know it's still late July. 26 days away from Kansas State and Iowa State. That's the headliner for Week 0, Troy. So as everybody starts watching this, Iowa State's a 3.5-point underdog to Kansas State. They're playing that game in Ireland. I don't know if you got any thoughts about that one, but that's the first one. That's the first game on the first day, and it's actually two name teams, or two power conference teams. So that's in Week 0. What's the handle look like there before we get started?
It's way down from last year when I believe it was Notre Dame and Purdue. Or Georgia Tech, maybe.
Georgia Tech,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But that's certainly, let's be real. I'm surprised they're playing a game in Ireland in which Notre Dame isn't part of it. I would be surprised if many people in Ireland can point out Ames or Manhattan on a map of America. I know there are plenty of Americans who can't do that. Kansas State is one of, for the last 20 years, the all-time just, even-keeled team. You never think about them, and then they'll pump out 9-10 wins. Iowa State has been far more ebbs and flows. When they're good, they're pretty good. But when they're bad, they're very bad. Here, Avery Johnson is still the quarterback for Kansas State. He, was a fringe Heisman hopeful 2 years ago. He's been pretty decent as a quarterback. He's a big guy. He likes to run. I when in doubt, I lean on Kansas State. I just have a lot of historical faith in them to win games when people aren't really talking about them. And this is a decent quality game. I'm not sure about the 3.5 just because, the fields are wildly different overseas. They're designed for soccer players who are not 300 pounds, who are not pivoting on a dime. So the fields are definitely different, which is why I don't love to take spread plays in American football games played in Europe. But I do like Kansas State to win, so I would take minus 167 on the money line because I feel like that is a number that I can bet on and not have to give up too much.
That's a good game, Charlie. Kansas State.
Yeah,
Iowa
no,
State,
it is a good game.
That's a really good game. We opened last year, if you remember, Georgia Tech upset Florida State in Dublin, and that was kind of the upset. SMU also, I kind of forgot about this. They escaped against Nevada late. SMU was, a borderline playoff team. Nevada was terrible, and they somehow escaped that game. But it's not the best slate, but Kansas State, Iowa State between Rocco Becht and Avery Johnson, that's an exciting matchup to start the season.
It's the first game of the year. I'll watch grasshoppers play groundhogs. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. It's better than that thing they're sending to Germany next year when Michigan's bringing their rental. They're going to haul their rental win all the way to Germany to play that game. All right, Troy. Last thing, we actually get a football game this week in the NFL. It's the Hall of Fame game is Thursday night. What kind of handle you guys do on preseason football? I know some people who swear by it that say there's some definite trends and advantages you can take advantage of, and others that say, man, let me know when they kick it for real after Labor Day. So I don't know what camp you fall into as far as where the edge is, but we do have a real game this week, sort of, I guess.
Yeah, so we don't take a huge amount of action on preseason games because it's just a lot. There's a lot that goes into it that really doesn't make it for a competitive betting atmosphere. But here's what I'll say: is that in a typical regular season college or pro football game, there's a clear breakdown of kind of tickets and money and where it goes. First and foremost, we take the most money on spread betting. That is, and most tickets on spread. That should come as no surprise. Sometimes we take more money on money line tickets, more tickets on money lines than we do spread, typically parlays and whatnot. But so second is the money line. We take the least amount of money in tickets on over-unders relative to spread and money line for regular season games. For preseason, it's wildly different. Over-unders, we take the most money and most tickets because that is the thing that you kind of can get behind and predict based off of, how long we think starters are going to play. And, it is really just a dry run. And I remember last year, I think, the first 2 weeks of preseason was just heavy to the unders. And then it switched and was heavy to the overs. As you got more starters in there, the starters were playing longer. And there was some, lopsided natures in terms of the personnel on both sides. So the only trends we really have is that people will bet on over-unders in preseason games because the books may not be able to figure out the right number because they can't project who's going to play and for how long. So there is an edge there for the public. Whereas it's pretty hard to bet on money line and spread, especially And, where you think you could, get a real advantage is live betting, which you should be able to. However, we don't really offer a ton of live betting options, especially on live spread for preseason games, just because of the volatility of the market.
Follow him on X, Troy, Machir. Troy, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Here at Big Mike's in Denham Springs again. Schedule your fantasy football drafts and enjoy fantasy football happy hour drink prices. The happy hour drink prices you have every day, Monday through Friday from 3 until 7 and all day on Sunday are available for your entire league during your fantasy football draft. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get every time you call 296-0060. Ashley Bonham Donald, Mariana Broussard-Haynes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, and Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses you but you. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at lunch.
Have you been arrested or even issued a traffic ticket? Everyone makes mistakes. Hi, I'm Dana Brown from the law offices of O.C. Brown. If you find yourself in an unfortunate situation with the law, call us today and we can help you resolve your problem. Whether it's just a traffic matter or something more serious. No criminal matter is too big or too small for us to aggressively and effectively represent you. Before making any decisions, call us at 225-343-1111 for your free consultation. You can also visit us at ocbrown.com. The law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
This is Charles Henniger for Home Bank. If you're tired of the impersonal, one-size-fits-all style of banking, you deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for your businesses and families because they go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business and good for life. Stop by any South Louisiana, Houston, or Natchez area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Sometimes it's so hard to find someone to do home repair, odd jobs due to storm damage, or just regular wear and tear over time to your home. Do like I did and call Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition. Roofing, flooring, debris removal, electric, sheetrock, painting, and much more. Pretty much whatever home maintenance you need, Clean Sweep can handle it. Call Pat Green at 300-7064 for free no-obligation estimate. Fully licensed and insured, reasonably priced, and for over 20 years in the greater Baton Rouge area. Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition, 300-7064.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars. Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources will help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, Max, let's give it up for Wes Reynolds, man. The 3M Kurt Kitayama,
40-1,
and shot a 60 on Saturday, and then came home with 65 yesterday. So Wes does it again. Man, this is not one of the bigger tournaments. This is not one of the more star-studded fields. We went through all of that. But 40-1 is 40-1, man. Don't matter whether it's in the Masters or in the 3M, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's sixth winner of the season. He's been on fire for us once again this year. Kitayama, impressive performance in a birdie fest. It can be oftentimes a little bit difficult to follow up a great round, which he had in round 3. Actually bogeyed the 17th hole, a par 3. Maybe could have shot a special 59 round, but ultimately follows it up with a lovely final round. Had a little bit of stress on that last few holes, just bogeyed the 17th once again. Needed probably a par, maybe a birdie on the last, depending on what some of the chasers were going to do. Jake Knapp hits it in the water. Sam Stevens fails to convert on what would have been a birdie to tie the lead. But he gets up and down from a pretty tough spot behind the green in a bunker. Puts it on the green. Actually missed the putt, but just needed par at that point. So a nice win for Kitayama, his second win on the PGA Tour. A really good, great ball striker. He just needs the putter to get hot sometimes.
Real quick on Chris Scotterup. Wins the Scottish, second at the British. He comes back with another top 10 here. Ryder Cup?
Oh, absolutely. Could be in the mix there. He's a hot golfer. Fits Bethpage Black to a T. 20th in the FedEx Cup standings now.
All right. Hour number 2 straight ahead here at Big Mike's in Denham Springs, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff, roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell Omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots. Highland Coffee's and Louis Cafe just outside the north gates of LSU.
We're here to examine things that get better with age, like this bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, vintage 1877. Age can make things more valuable, like this Picasso from his Blue Period, 1904. And treasured, like this Roto-Rooter jingle, 1954.
Roto-Rooter jingle?
Just listen to it.
Oh, Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
A timeless melody.
Roto-Rooter?
The lithe arrangement.
But it's a clog-busting company.
Wrong there. Roto-Rooter has grown into more than a clog-busting company. They're North America's largest full-service plumber and drain cleaner. And when you need Roto-Rooter, remembering this jingle can be priceless.
Roto-Rooter.
For all of your plumbing and drainage solutions, call Roto-Rooter in Baton Rouge at 925-8710. That's 925-8710.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
The new location of Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Wesley across from Mike Anderson's. Man, the place looks great. Lots of indoor and outdoor seating options with plenty of big TVs to watch all your favorite games. All of the traditional Mexican cuisine with a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Plus $5 margaritas all day, all night on Wednesdays. Great spot to bring the baseball team in between games, just 5 minutes north of Traction and 5 minutes south of LSU. Los Reyes Mexican Grill, 1072 West Lee, near Nicholson.
This is Charles Henniger. For total maintenance for AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing, Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. Service today, every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area, as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Tommy Kissinger here with Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. We also do gutters, patio covers, and screen rooms. Give us a call for your free estimate today and visit our website, GEAUXTommys.com.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Big Mike's. Again, fantasy football season, fantasy football drafts right around the corner here in the month of August. Schedule yours for Big Mike's in one of the multiple size party rooms, and you get happy hour drink prices for your entire league throughout your draft. It means just like the happy hour drink prices Monday through Friday from 3 until 7 and all day on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. It's $2.50 domestic beers, draft and bottles, $4 wells, and $5 wine all throughout your fantasy football draft. Max, I got I got the number one pick in my draft. They did the drawing. I got the number one pick, so it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. You know, you got a pretty good idea who I'm going to take.
It's a little bit up in the air. You could go with Barkley.
Which LSU receiver do you like?
Okay, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, Jefferson wasn't as highly thought of in fantasy last year, and still put up great numbers without the best quarterback play. We'll see how J.J. McCarthy does with him this year.
Yeah, if you feel like the two LSU receivers are equal. And I think you could make a pretty good case that these two guys are equal talents.
Both rated 99 today on the Madden rankings.
And that's important.
The only two wide receivers.
If Jimmy were not still on vacation, he would say we definitely need to follow the Madden. But no, if you consider Chase and Jefferson equal as far as production, then don't you have to take Chase because of the quarterback? I mean, I know what Joe Burrow is. I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is yet. And Jefferson, I expect to have a big season. I mean, but if I got to pick between one of the two for that, if anybody in my league is listening, I'm taking Chase. Okay, unless I change my mind between now and then. But that the quarterback makes the difference there, right?
I think so, but again, like I said, Jefferson had a fantastic year last year, and there was real questions about the quarterback play there. Now McCarthy, there's seemingly a few more questions in camp right now with him. They're not really sold on him yet, but he's coming. It's his rookie year, so it's different than Darnold. It's a rookie quarterback essentially, and it's not his rookie season, but it is in essence because he didn't play last year. He's another quarterback coming off a season-long injury, so he essentially hasn't played in 2 years. So that is a question for this Vikings offense. Now the Vikings offense has been incredible. Kevin O'Connell's been a a really good coach for that offense. And so maybe ultimately it is worth taking Jefferson. But, yeah, I think Chase is much the safer pick. Jefferson's had a better fantasy career, I think, if that's something you care about.
Not last year. Last year, Chase won the Triple Crown last year. But yes, over the course, Jefferson's missed a little less time. Chase has missed just a little bit of time. But if you're looking at all that, and we're kind of getting off on a little tangent here with this stuff. What do you, when you're rating receivers, how much stock do you have to put into the quarterback?
Well, you do, but also I think what helps Jamar Chase and the Bengals is I oftentimes look at the defense. Is the defense going to be bad? Or are you going to be in shootouts? And the Bengals were in shootouts all year last year, right? Because they have questions there. They've tried to solve their pass rusher issues, well, their whole defense issues, but right now they've got pass rusher problems because Shamar Stewart, they drafted, is unsigned to this point, hasn't been part of camp, and Trey Hendrickson is holding out right now, and that could go into the season if things don't go well. He wants 3 years of guaranteed money. They're only giving him one right now. The Bengals are kind of caught in a hard place right now. I think they might be a fade team, as tough as it is to say for me, just because Joe Burrow had an incredible season last year, and they still missed the playoffs. Like, what more can he do? What more can Jamar Chase do? And ultimately, their offseason has not been very successful when you look at who's not at camp at this point. So, I think that's a part of it where they're just going to be down in games. So, yes, that does make the Bengals offense and Jamar Chase being the focal point in that a little bit more valuable from a stats and fantasy perspective.
Well, if you're going to go at it from that, and I agree with you, but by the way, with most of that stuff, fantasy's so much different than real football.
Sure.
You take a guy like Calvin Ridley, okay, if you want to talk about a team that's going to be behind all season, the Tennessee Titans, they're going to be behind all season. Ridley's been, since he came back from the suspension, a very productive receiver. Rookie quarterback going to be behind all year. Where do you take a guy like him?
Yeah, really would make sense. I think you look at
I'm not talking about the first. I'm not talking about the first round. Chase is,
he's
Chase
still
and
a
Jefferson
risky
are in a
player,
different stratosphere.
An offensive-minded head coach, you kind of look at that as well. I worry about New England, right? Everyone's excited about Drake May going to his second season, but it's a Mike Vrabel team that's going to want to run the ball, establish the trenches a little bit more. So you have to look at it like that way. And then the other thing you look about fantasy, if we're going to get on this tangent completely.
I'm about to get off of it. But
running quarterbacks matter more than anything. So you can have, I remember Anthony Richardson was a pretty highly drafted quarterback in his rookie season with the expectation he was going to run a lot. He is maybe out of a job at this point, and yet
he's
still,
definitely out of a job.
If he were still somehow to start, he might be a valuable somewhat player because running quarterbacks matter way much more than say a traditional pro-style passer.
Drake May ran for 421 yards last year. That's surprising that the number was that high. Not somebody you think of as a running quarterback. Ran for 421 yards last year. Now,
Vrabel had Tannehill for a while, who could run a little bit himself. So that kind of
Tannehill
makes sense
was
they would
a
use
receiver
him a little
when
bit.
he went to college.
Right. Vrabel did use him in terms of the running game offensively with the Titans.
Didn't mean to get off on a fantasy football tangent, but if you want to go to your fantasy football, come draft it at Big Mike's. It's a great place, and you're going to get happy hour drink prices. All right, first few days of camp with the Saints, and they put the pads on for the first time today. I don't expect to be able to see everything we need to see just here in the first few days, but anything you have gleaned from this here just in the first week of camp out of New Orleans? Anything catch your attention?
You're always holding your breath for injuries. And so far, knock on wood, there hasn't really been an issue. JT Gray went out today. That was the first camp injury, day 5 now. We're looking at the quarterbacks, of course. There's been a rotation. It seems like there's some inconsistencies there. I look at the defense, though. You've got a new defensive coordinator as well. We've heard some comments this week, or actually today, from some of the defense or some of the offense actually about how the defense is playing. Mike Triplett talked to.
Carl Granderson was one of the guys that was talking today. I know all of this has happened since we got on the show, so we're we're kind of watching this stuff in real time as they have some media availability after practice. But there were a couple of them that have talked about.
Eric McCoy was talking about
McCoy.
the 5-1 penny front.
Oh, what
Brandon
Staley was running against
Yes.
him. Okay.
So you've got the nose tackle, which we're hearing some pretty good things about Devon Godshaw so far. He's going to be your nose probably. You'll have 2 defensive ends, and you have 2 edge guys, but then you have 5 defensive backs. So this is kind of the defense, sort of a shell defense that we've seen a lot in the Mahomes era. Brandon Staley was one of the first defensive coordinators to sort of employ these things, where they're trying to eliminate the big play, keep everything in front of you, a lot of underneath passing, but a different approach at the line of scrimmage as well. So it'll be curious to see what Brandon Staley does, because this is different than what we've seen with Dennis Allen over the last few years.
I got only 2 questions about the defense. Who's going to rush the passer and who's going to cover? Okay, those are 2 pretty big questions. But if you're going to play these edge guys, who's coming off the edge? Who really do you think could be a guy that comes off the edge that produces a strong pass? Right? Is it Chase Young? Can he is Brian Brzee going to take? I thought Brzee played pretty well last year. I mean, is he going to be playing essentially a 5 technique? I don't know. They lack that dynamite, really speed edge rusher that you'd like to have. Granderson's a good player. I think Brzee was coming on a little bit last year, but I don't know where that pass rush comes from. That's been my, I think they'll be better against the run. I think Godshaw is an upgrade there. He was one of the better graded out players against the run a season ago, and so I think that helps there. But I don't know where the pass rush comes from. That's
been
my
their problem. The last 3-4 seasons, they've been bottom 3 in pass rush win rate in the league. They've been one of the worst teams, and it's not just been last year because Cam Jordan's getting older. Like, this has been a trend for quite some time, and something they need to fix. I mean, look at the teams that had success in the playoffs this season. Look at the team that won the Super Bowl. They have been building on the defensive line for years, and even when they're really good, they keep adding to that defensive line. They're drafting guys over and over again because you can't be young enough, you can't be good enough in terms of the defensive line. The whole league is a copycat league. You follow what works, and defensive line is important. And unfortunately, the Saints have not been very good there, and maybe that's part of the reason why their team success hasn't been very good.
And it hurts you in the secondary because if you don't have a pass rush, you're putting a lot more pressure on those guys.
Yeah.
Though Julian Blackman has made a couple of plays.
Working with the ones today as well. Picked off, I think, Spencer Rattler it was yesterday in camp. So
He did.
Blackman, I was curious. It seems like based on who he is that he would come in and probably be a starter, but you had some more established guys. He's coming in late, and so we'll see how it works. But so far, so good for Julian Blackman, who, again, I thought was a very good signing considering the circumstances with Matthews' retirement.
I want to see Stutzman too, because his name keeps coming up, and that's a guy who was highly productive at Oklahoma, played all 4 years, was, I think, for a decent amount of that 4 years, a 3-down player, because there's a lot of pass defense stats that he's got. I mean, he had multiple interceptions, he had multiple pass breakups, so at least some of that time he was a 3-down linebacker. So, hey, if you can go get 300 and some odd tackles, or 350 tackles, I think, at Oklahoma, 360 tackles at Oklahoma over 4 years. You can play at that level. You got a shot. His name has been coming up a lot, so that's something positive. And then the other thing is that it just seems like the comments coming out there that they have changed their approach to pre-practice and after practice. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a conditioner. I'm not a sports scientist or anything like that. All I know is that the Saints have been flooded with injuries for 2 seasons now. So if you want to do something different to try to change that, I'm all for it. Please. And if it works, walk next door and tell the Pelican staff what you're doing and see if that could help.
Right. This franchise could be modernized. I mean, the one thing there's been a lot
That's a good word. Modernized.
Yes.
I like that word.
It's been that's one of the things when you hold over a lot of guys, when you're trying to repeat the Sean Payton staff, you just get comfortable with a lot of the same things. Sometimes you need to shake things up, and a new young coach with a different mindset on let's face it. I mean, it's 95 degrees out there. It's hot. You know, that can be strenuous. So you don't want to overwork people and then get people to where they're fatigued, and that affects the way they go about practice. So look, it's way too early to start saying based on any results that it's working. We'll see during this season, and you probably need another season to kind of figure out if that's going to be helpful. But I'm all for modernizing this franchise because they need it.
There's all kinds of ways to go 5-12. You can go 5-12 with the trajectory going up. With things getting better at the base of your organization.
And we talked about it Friday, but the vibes are apparently good.
Vibes.
Ron Johnson's saying that the vibes are better than they've been in quite some time. So that's important.
Modernizing the vibes. See, you win word of the day.
Just one point of clarification. I said Shamar Stewart hadn't signed. He has signed this weekend. It's now just
Hendrickson.
Judkins is the only guy who has unsigned from this draft, this entire draft with the Browns. He's dealing with some off-the-field issues. Shamar Stewart did sign, though, but he's been late to camp, so that's going to affect this Bengals pass rush.
He's late to camp, and we put this in no class last week because my question was, it was over the wording over voidable money based on off-the-field stuff, okay?
Violation of team rules. And some of those are pretty soft, I'll be honest. Like a tweet can be bad, and they'll fine you for that. But the holdout was a little ridiculous. They finally got it done.
My thing is, everybody else in the league got this done. You're the one holdout. Maybe it's you. Okay, I mean, if everybody else in the league has agreed on this language, every other agent, every other general manager, and you're the one, it's like, oh, what are we doing? Is this really that important, or is it more important to get him out there? I would ask Jerry Jones the same thing. I don't know to the penny what Micah Parsons is asking for, and I don't know to the penny what the Cowboys are offering, but I'll bet you when they open the season, Parsons is in the lineup.
Yeah.
Okay, so
what are the Cowboys without him?
Why not get this done? Why not make it a sense of urgency rather than, going through camp and taking these pot shots in the media? And I would say the same thing with the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson. Now, if he ends up sitting, because all of these Cowboys that have held out over the years ended up signing. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, you want to go all the way back to Emmitt Smith. Every time Jones does one of these Horatio at the Bridge drama routines, they end up signing anyway. So why not just get it done? Now, with the Bengals, I would ask you, is it worth going to the mat over these guaranteed years for Trey Hendrickson? I had to laugh at one of these reports I saw this morning where they said they had the framework for a deal, and all they're in disagreement about was the guaranteed years. Well, that's the whole contract. If you're not in agreement on the guaranteed years, you're not in guarantee. You're not in agreement on the framework.
It's 1 year versus 3 years.
Yeah,
it's quite
that's
a big difference.
Big deal. It's $60 million worth of guaranteed money. I think the difference between 1 year and 3 years.
What is that Bengals defense without him? I mean, what have they been with him?
They were bad enough with him.
Right. So, look, I think they're in a tough spot. I didn't think they should have re-signed T. Higgins. I know Joe Burrow wanted that, but they've just got like 5 players. Everybody else, I don't really know what they're doing. They haven't improved the offensive line. I worry about Joe Burrow and Chase in this franchise. I just don't think it's going to get any better. They've got to sign Henderson at this point. I don't think they can just save the money and use it elsewhere at this far in. But they've just signed so many guys to big contracts. They've got 4 or 5 guys that are worth something, and outside of that, I just don't know what the Bengals are going to do going forward.
They needed some of the draft choices. Like Mims, the tackle out of Georgia, was a first-round pick for them. They need that guy to be really good. They need that guy to play at a Pro Bowl level probably, because on the other side, Orlando Brown hasn't been nearly as good as they had hoped. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store as we wind down these summer months. If you're looking to make home improvements, do it through the Thibodeau Store. Let their experts help you out. Save you the money from hiring a contractor or bringing in a handyman for some of these jobs that you can do yourself. They'll instruct you. It's way better than a YouTube video because you can ask questions. They'll point you exactly where you need to go as far as your building materials and the procedures that'll save you some time. And if you're looking to spruce up the backyard, the back patio, they've got patio furniture from Outdoor Expressions available right now at a discount on the website, as well as a large selection of grills and griddles, all the way up to the big green egg cookers are available at the Thibodaux store. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, and they're open daily until 5:30. Online, it's thethibodeauxstore.com, and of course the Pierre Part store. All of your lumber being delivered out of the Pierre Part store. They've been open for 113 years. Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane. Segan and Perkins, between Perkins and I-10, right across from Ambrosia Bakery. So whatever, like your engine light comes on, bring it on in. Belts, hoses, wheels, tires, general services like AC repair, AC service, undercar services, transmission work, electrical work, electronic, whatever you need on your vehicle, bring it to Jason Payne, because what you want in a mechanic, his auto maintenance work, is a fair deal. You've heard the horror stories of getting upcharged for unnecessary work. Not the case at K&M Automotive. 8445 Segan Lane, Segan but Perkins, across from Ambrosia Bakery. We're open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Tell Jason you heard me talking about it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. It's the only place I take my vehicle, K&M Automotive on Segan Lane.
Live at lunch.
This is Charles Henniger. For total maintenance for AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing, Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. Service today, every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area, as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Get Moss Max and less tax during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and Dip Trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, or cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
Congratulations are in order for one of my favorite places to eat, Snow Seafood and Steaks, celebrating its 50th anniversary. That's right, since 1971, Snow's has been serving a wide assortment of menu items to please everyone. Steaks, seafood, gumbo, homemade soup, salad, specialty cocktails, great wine selection, and oh yes, the best white chocolate bread pudding that you'll find anywhere. It's the total dining experience. Happy 50th anniversary to my friends at Snow Seafood and Steak, Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales. By now you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crowntown Room at Doe's Eat Place. The Crowntown Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and OCBrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rest, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live Live at lunch with Ott and Annie Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Finbom, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at 1045 ESPN and on Instagram at ESPN 1045. For a look behind the scenes, highlights from our shows, the chance to participate in exclusive contests, and more with 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Big Mike's again. Schedule your fantasy football draft here and get happy hour drink prices all throughout the draft for everybody in your league. Max, at the beginning of the show, so we were going to have this during the show, the Deion Sanders press conference where he was going to bring his entire medical team up and he was going to give some details as to what he's been at. If you missed this yesterday, he had a very emotional, tearful post on Instagram that he had made out a will and that he had been he had a health scare, but they weren't specific about it. They got specific today, and the news is actually pretty good for Deion.
Yes, he will return to coaching this season. He had a bladder surgery to remove a tumor, a cancerous tumor on his bladder. It sounds like his whole bladder might have been removed. I haven't been able to watch the conference, but that's what it looks like on Twitter. He's in good spirits. He thanks God for it. He reminds people to get checked for these kind of things, but it sounds like he's going to be good to go. So the cancer is removed, bladder tumor, and so that's good news. We were fearing, what could have been when you hear a medical press conference. But.
Well, this wasn't one of those sources close to. No, this was Deion himself. I mean, this post yesterday where he's basically near tears and he's talking about making out his will and taking care of his family and all that stuff. So you're like, okay, what are you going to tell me? I mean, I'm glad that he's been cleared. Deion turns 58 next month, and he signed a contract extension in the offseason. He's going to be he's under contract at Colorado until 29. Now, what Colorado's going to do this year, I don't know. This is the first time he's going to have to coach without Shedeur at quarterback, and he's had Travis Hunter with him for just about that entire time as well. They are the 10th choice in a crowded and wild Big 12. Recruiting class was a little bit light. The transfer portal class was lighter than the first couple that he had over
19th
there.
ranked transfer class, bolstered the O-line, which has been a real concern for them the last 2 years. They've been trying to address that. But, you look at it, you could tell maybe he's been a little bit, distracted with other things, life things. It does happen for coaches. And a
cancerous tumor being removed is going to distract you, for sure.
He's got some catching it up to do on the recruiting class next year for 2026, ranked 80th in the country, which considering, who he is and what a great recruiter he has been, that was surprising. I mean, it's a significant drop-off from what it has been, but we'll see what he can do. I am very curious to see, considering he's without Travis Hunter and Shedeur.
They were picked in the Big 12? They weren't, because the Big 12 decided to abolish their preseason picks.
That's right.
After Arizona State finished 15th, I believe, in the preseason rankings or preseason picks last year, and ended up, of course, in the playoffs. And the league hierarchy thought that hurt them, the perception of them. And now that the criteria has been reconfigured, they didn't want to do that again.
Yeah, Arizona was last. Arizona State was last.
Were they last? 16th?
They were dead last.
16th? Okay.
16th. Whoever was 15th, I'm blanking on who that was. They finished pretty high as well. So that the preseason rankings were all off the media poll there. But I don't know if removing it solves that. But
It didn't.
Colorado, yeah,
it didn't.
Colorado 5.5 wins is their win total this year. So right on the cusp of being a bowl team.
You know how many times the media has gotten the SEC champion right since they've been doing media days?
It was a little easier when Alabama was dominant every year.
It really wasn't.
No?
The media is hitting. I don't have the number right in front of me. I'm doing this out of my head, but somewhere in the area of 30%, correct? 25, 30% correct. Now, that may be a little bit of a dated stat. They may have made up a little ground with Georgia and Alabama over the last 5 years, but for a long time, I think the last time I went to media days was in 21, and I think the number was sitting somewhere around 30%. So they're not getting it right in the SEC either. So I don't know what the.
I'll be honest, this year I don't know who's going to win the SEC. I mean, it is wide open. We talked about it from a national perspective, but you could give me 6 teams that could win it realistically, win the conference.
Realistically, I would say the top 4 for sure, which is Texas, Alabama, Georgia, LSU.
A&M returns a lot.
We're talking about win the
Reed's
conference.
back.
We're
Yeah.
talking about win the conference. We're talking about get into the SEC championship game and win it. No, I don't know that I can go past the top 4. Ole Miss has never even been there. I mean, I'm encouraged by what I've seen out of Austin Simmons, but it's such a small sample size. I can't, in good conscience, say, yeah, they've got a chance. I'm not a Jackson Arnold fan at all, so I can't pick Auburn. I can't pick Florida because of the schedule. I like Lagway an awful lot.
So you got to remember, some of that is non-conference.
No, that's true.
You're going to Miami. That's not going to count against you in this.
No, I get it, but it's still plenty in the league, too. I can't go with Tennessee with their quarterback situation. I'll give South Carolina a puncher's chance because I think Sellers could be really good. And I'll give A&M a puncher's chance, but, there's so much history with A&M just spitting a bit whenever they are in position to do something that I can't in good kind. No, once you get past those top 4, South Carolina maybe. I'll give you, if I was going to take a long shot outside of the top 4, I would take Oklahoma because Mateer could be really good.
Tough schedule as well.
Yeah, they do. He was really good a year ago at Washington State. Now that's a suspect schedule, but I do know that if he had not gone to Oklahoma, he would not have lacked for other offers. And we'll never know for sure. But if I was told by somebody that I trust that had Garrett Nussmeier decided to go pro, LSU would have certainly been very, very interested in Mateer. And I think it's been underrated that Jade Knott is there. Jade Knott was really good for Cal last year. I mean, he was a really good back, and to be productive with that.
College Game Day was there. It's hard to go to Cal.
Yeah, I mean, tell me how good Cal's offensive line was last year. If you can be good there. So if I had to take somebody outside of the top 4 at a price, probably Oklahoma. It's a long shot, but you're giving me 33-1 on them. Maybe.
I think if you look at Florida and Oklahoma, based on their schedules, based on the talent on their roster, those are 2 teams that probably have the biggest variance in outcomes. They have the higher ceilings and the lower floors, considering what's on their schedule. They both have very, very challenging schedules, but if they win a few games early, maybe they keep that rolling and they can get it into something. But if they lose some early, Florida starts unraveling, more questions about the head coach. The same thing could happen with Brent Venables at Oklahoma. So I think those are 2 teams that are most intriguing just because their floor and ceiling are so far apart. But I guess my overall theme of the SEC being open, Texas is the favorite. I don't really see it with them just because it's Arch's first year, really.
Yeah.
And their schedule is not what it was last year. They've got Ohio State to open the season. 2 of their hardest games in the SEC play are on the road, right? Florida on the road, Georgia on the road. They get, Oklahoma in a neutral site. But a lot of their games this year are on the road, where last year they were at home.
Play the Jimmy Ott roll here for a second. Oklahoma at home against Michigan. What's the spread? That's in week 2.
Michigan, ooh, that's at home.
That's at home.
I would make Oklahoma a favorite of about.
I would say that they
4
would
points.
be probably right outside the home field advantage mark. I'd say probably somewhere around 3 or 4 points. And then in week 4 they play Auburn at home.
They'll be favored by 6.
Yeah. Okay. So win those 2 games that you're supposed to win. Not you're going to be favored, and let me not just say you're supposed to win. That's inside of a touchdown. So they're more of a toss-up game. But 2 very winnable games in Norman, and if you win those 2 with the 3 rental wins that you got, you go to Red River undefeated in the second week in October. You can have some real momentum built up. I'm not wild about the coach. If you're talking about Florida and Oklahoma, I'm not wild about either coach. If you gave me these 2 coaches in a vacuum and said, which one do you want in your program, I would take Napier over Venables because I think Venables is drastically underachieved at Oklahoma. But this particular year, given what Oklahoma's schedule looks like as opposed to Florida, now it's not, like I said, it's not easy. They got to go to Alabama and Tennessee in November, so it's not like
South Carolina's a tough place to
Yeah, they
play.
got to go to South Carolina too. Ain't no easy schedules in the SEC, but Oklahoma's is slightly easier than Florida. So I don't know if I had to take a long shot. Oklahoma would probably be my play. We'll take a break here live at Big Mike's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, don't forget our friends over here, Workbox and Workbox Services, my buddy Martin Padial, and expanding. That's right, their newest location at Workbox and the second office, which extends our coverage all the way down to the Gulf Coast, through New Orleans and Baton Rouge, all the way to Lake Charles. Of course, shipping containers of all sizes, you name it, for residential or commercial use as well. 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, 8x40 feet, you name it. You want to... Want a tool storage container for your job site? No problem. Custom lunchroom? No problem. Customize it, part office, part storage, dual purpose? No problem. Custom safety storage near the plant? No problem. Our great staff, Martine Sr., Martine Jr., Hannah, Brandy, and Chris. Workbox and Workbox Services, 343-4886 and WorkboxLLC.com.
Live at Lunch.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
You've heard me talk about Workbox Services and how they can handle all of your movable storage needs for both commercial and residential. With our shipping containers of all sizes, customized in any way that you need or desire. Now Martin Padial has expanded his coverage outside the Baton Rouge area. Workbox can now service the Gulf Coast and New Orleans areas all the way to Lake Charles. Our staff at Workbox continues to grow with Hannah, Martin Jr., Brandy, and Chris. Do like I did when I needed a movable storage unit. Call Workbox at 343-4886 or WorkboxLLC.com.
Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. Right now we're bowling crawfish 7 days a week. Monday through Friday, first batch comes out at 5 p.m. Weekends at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, near Starring since 1988.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
The new location of Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Wesley across from Mike Anderson's. Man, the place looks great. Lots of indoor and outdoor seating options with plenty of big TVs to watch all your favorite games. All of the traditional Mexican cuisine with a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Plus $5 margaritas all day, all night on Wednesdays. Great spot to bring the baseball team in between games, just 5 minutes north of Traction and 5 minutes south of LSU. Los Reyes Mexican Grill, 1072 West Lee, near Nicholson.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
Baseball and softball players of all levels get the competitive edge you've been looking for at Total Diamond Performance. Do the same lessons, camps, classes, and clinics used by top college and MLB organizations. Everything from mental performance, in-game video and data analysis to improve pitching, throwing velocity, bat speed, and fielding. Total Diamond Performance is tailored around the individual player to build strength and athleticism while also cleaning up mechanical deficiencies. Matt Mistretta applies what he's learned working in player development with college and MLB teams. Total Diamond Performance, 931-3730. That's 931-3730.
Do you know what you would do if you were in a car wreck? It's easy to panic when you or someone you care about is hurt in an accident. Who will pay the medical bills? Who will pay the car repair? Who will deal with the insurance companies for you? Protect your rights. You need someone you can trust. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 343-1111. The law offices of O.C. Brown will handle everything for you. 343-1111 or online at ocbrown.com. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Big Mike's. Jimmy's still on vacation this week. Max Gotro and myself here holding down the fort this week. You get some golf in this weekend?
I did. I was playing in a tournament actually out here in Denham.
How'd you do?
Good the first day, not so good the second. You know, that's kind of how that works with me.
You kind of have form, right? we couldn't live bet you if you were.
Yeah, I'm a Keith Mitchell, first round leader. You know, bet him then, and then get off of him as soon as it gets real.
We had a couple of baseball stories to get to. Probably the biggest one, since we talk about sports wagering enough on this show, is that the closer for the Guardians is on paid. Non-disciplinary paid leave. He's under suspicion for a betting investigation.
Yeah, this is big news. This is their second pitcher for the Guardians to be placed on leave. Luis Ortiz has been out for quite some time now for the same reasons. Clase was supposed to be on the trade block here. The trade deadline is Thursday at 5 o'clock. A lot of teams are always in need of, highly important relief pitching.
He's got 24
supposed
saves.
to be that guy. The Guardians have kind of worked their way off the wild card line. I think they're 3 games back now at their wild card spot. So it was thought they were likely to be more sellers than buyers at the deadline, with him and maybe Stephen Kwan being up for grabs. But Clase, I mean, if he's now not available, he's not going to play. He's on the non-disciplinary paid leave list. Who wants him at this point? So that affects what the Guardians might get back. They're going to have to hold on to him, I think, at this point. But also, it puts one less reliever in the trade market for teams that are hungry, teams that are on the cusp of the wild card spot, teams on the cusp of potentially a division title or a championship if they want to, bolster their bullpen. So this is massive news to me. And the fact that it's the second pitcher on this team to do it, I think it's a reminder that when we think about the problems of gambling in sports, you think about who is most vulnerable to this, right? You think about lower level players who are on smaller contracts. Clase is not one of those guys. I mean, this is an all-star who, up until the end of last year's postseason, where he really struggled, I mean, he was in the Cy Young sort of outskirts,
He's
even
led
as
the
a
league in
reliever.
saves 3 years running.
Been phenomenal. And the fact that again, he's just part of the investigation. It's not saying that he's guilty of anything at this point. But I do think it's worth noting that because you can bet on pitch by pitch, you can bet on is this a fastball, basically. You can bet on miles per hour of each pitch.
Can you really?
You can.
On velocity of pitches?
Velocity of certain
Where
pitches.
do you bet that?
That's live betting on DraftKings. You can go to the Queen. You can bet on that
Velocity
stuff.
of the next pitch.
You can do that live.
How did I miss that?
So the problem is when those things are available, it is a lot easier to hide those things, and you can make a lot more pitchers vulnerable to things like this because it is pretty easy. I think there are 2 pitchers that they circled Luis Ortiz as being flagged. Right, they got an abnormal amount of money on a couple of his pitches that ended up being a certain threshold, whether they were a strike. I think he threw a couple of breaking balls in the dirt. Maybe they bet ball or strike. Right, so. Those things, the fact that you can bet pitch by pitch, it makes a lot more pitchers theoretically vulnerable to potential sports betting implications.
You tell your buddy who's in the bullpen with you, go out there and make sure you throw a changeup on the first pitch or something like that. I get it. Clase's his compensation this year is $5 million. He has $26 million remaining on his contract. He is 27 years old. He is right there at the beginning of his prime. What amount of money can you bet that would not be flagged, okay? This is not just you trying to go make $500 on a quick flyer. You have literally over $30 million in guaranteed money left on your contract as long as you don't get suspended for this. You can get hurt. You can stink. You can get traded. You can do anything but retire, okay, or get caught with something like this. What are you thinking? What possibly could make this worth it to you?
I certainly would never do it. It doesn't make sense to me, especially if he was about to get traded to, say, a top team like the Yankees or Dodgers who could have paid him really big money in his next contract.
I was saying his contract runs through his his age 30 season, okay? So this is not his last contract. He's got $26 million remaining on that deal. And you would put that in jeopardy for what's going to get flagged here. Any 6-figure bet, okay, is going to get flagged.
I would say
probably a lot of 5-figure
Just
bets are going to get
in-game prop bets do not get that much money on them. This is just like the college baseball thing with Alabama. You don't put down 6 figures on a college baseball game, by itself.
And if you get that kind of bet that's completely out of nowhere, even if it's, I assume he wasn't, and I don't know if he's guilty or not. He's just under investigation. But we've seen these guys. If you are going to do this, you're not going to do it through your own account. I mean, I'm assuming he's not that foolish, right? So you get somebody to place this bet for you. Well, they track that back to you. You know what they did with the basketball player that faked the eye injury? I forgot his name.
Porter?
Yeah.
It was Michael Porter's brother.
Yeah. Okay. He was a fringe NBA player.
Jonte Porter, yep.
Yeah, he was a fringe NBA player. Still dumb because you're basically going to be
more
banned.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, you're banned for. But this, come on, man. What?
Again, he's just part of the investigation,
Right.
so we don't know exactly the details. I'm sure more will come out. But the fact that specifically another player on his team, and apparently this is the last of the Guardians, that the team's been informed there's no more Guardians as part of this investigation. But Ortiz, they have come out and said there are 2 breaking balls that were ruled balls that were thrown in the dirt. That's the ones they're looking at. That they had 2 pitches that had a higher activity than usual on in-game props, and maybe this is something that
pitch was in the dirt.
Both pitches just thrown in the dirt. Yep, breaking balls in the dirt.
Well, now here, if you can manage to distance yourself from wherever the bet was made, you can make a compelling argument that the pitcher lost control of it.
Easily.
Lost his
That's
release.
why you
But,
can hide
pitches
these
in,
things so
pitches in the
easily.
dirt so often. But if, again, the amount of money, okay? If you make a small bet, a $500 bet, a $1,000 bet, well, and it's small for these guys, okay, then, yeah, you probably get away with it. But is it worth putting, let me go make $1,000, let me go make $500, just on the close? I got $30 million I got my entire career. Is it worth that? No. Just me. Anyway, big.
I mean, just massive. To trade, he was very likely to be traded by Thursday. Very likely to be one of these relievers, these high level, high leverage relievers that was going to be traded, and that seems out the window at this point. And there are a lot of teams that could have used him.
Well, too bad for him. Live at Big Mike's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Attention, vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give you...
I'm ready when... Hold on.
Yes.
Okay, it's rolling.
This is Charles Handigriff. Joins us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas. We do first class, second class, no class. And Rohan Davey joins the show as LSU gets ready to report to camp. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit Rufino'sRestaurant.com. Rufino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
The Grand Bayou Casino, conveniently located off I-10 at exit 139 in Grostead, offers the latest video poker machines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Got a great staff at the Grand Bayou Casino. Our inviting staff will greet you with complimentary coffee and sodas as you enjoy listening to the curated tunes in our comfortable seating. Make the trip to Grand Bayou Casino, where players are welcome. The Grand Bayou Casino, I-10 at the Grostead exit. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP. The Grand Bayou Casino.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is Charles Handigriff for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana-Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit ALS.org to learn more. That's ALS.org.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With football in the air, I will we'll finish the show today with one basketball note. I made sure to do this right at the end, so I didn't have to spend too much time on it, Max. ESPN put out their grades for all 30 NBA teams. Only got one F, the whole league. Want to take a wild guess which team got the only F of the offseason?
I don't think we have to answer that
It
question.
was your New Orleans Pelicans. Basically, I didn't see one analyst, not that they're always right, okay? Sometimes everybody misses this thing. Didn't see one analyst that liked what the Pels did either with the Jordan Poole acquisition or the trade that brought Derek Queen in or the signing of Kevon Looney. Now, you know, the draft wasn't, you know, your first pick was fine. Your second pick, because of what you gave up for him with the thing. So it says, the most lopsided transaction of the summer, too risky to be sensible, particularly in the context of the Pels' other moves. New Orleans betting on Jordan Poole being a playoff caliber point guard. Their depth chart is overloaded at center after drafting Derek Queen and signing Kevon Looney. By the way, Queen's hurt until what? It's a wrist injury.
Wrist injury, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be out a while. And of course they traded away their pick. So if it does end up being up at the top of the board next year, they don't get it. It's hard to look at when they brought Joe Dumars in. Okay, it was like, okay, nobody seems to like this move. He's far removed from his greatest success as a GM, and this basically looks like a kind of like a brother-in-law deal because he's somebody that is very close to the organization, but is he the best guy for it? Okay, well let's give him a chance. Okay, and he brings in Troy Weaver, and you know, Weaver's been with Washington. Is Washington good?
Haven't been.
No. Washington hasn't been good since Wes Unseld was playing, okay? And so, okay, well, let's see. Well, in, less than 6 months, they've managed to take the franchise's perception from something that was not very good at all and made it a lot worse.
I would slightly disagree with some of the other moves being unpopular. I don't mind the Jordan Poole move. They had to move C.J. McCollum. That's who they got back. You know, whether they could have gotten something else, something better, I don't know. But
I don't
Jordan
hate that
Poole,
as much as they do either.
It's possible.
It's one more year of salary. I don't love it, but I don't hate it
the
either.
Jeremiah Fears pick. There's real potential there. We'll see what happens there.
It's down the road potential, I think, with him. But yes.
Sure. Kevon Looney, you needed a center. It felt like you needed a starting level center. You know, I know they're heavy there is what the article says now. They've got a lot of bigs, but you did need a starting level center, and I think he's going to start for you. So they needed that. That's fine. All those things I maybe could have gotten a better center, but, you know, whatever. Those things, all of this offseason, the reason they get an F and the reason they deserve an F is because they gave up way too much for the pick that became Derek Queen. I don't want to say the pick that was Derek Queen. I don't want to say they gave up too much for Derek Queen because it is regardless of what Derek Queen does in his NBA career. He could be an NBA All-Star named to the top 100 team. I still don't think under any circumstance what you gave up for that pick is worth it. You gave up a future first, unprotected, that could be a number 1 overall pick. It could certainly be a lottery pick.
The two chances at it.
Whether it's yours or the Bucks, you gave up way too much for that slot, that pick. There is no chart that would tell you to do that move. That is why it's bad, regardless of what Derek Queen does this season.
See, I managed to squeeze it in right before the end of the show.
It made me mad. Damn.
Big Mike's in Denham Springs. Your fantasy football drafts are welcome here. Multiple rooms that you can use them in, and you get happy hour drink prices all throughout your draft for your entire league. For Max, for Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Go Automotive has a great...
All right, y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
See you.
See you.
You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources will help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy